Hi, I'm Chad, and you're watching Squarebody Stuff. Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. We're going to be working on Squeaky again, hopefully finishing up, or at least making some headway on the project we started in the last video that everything kind of went sideways. I'll explain that in a little bit, but before we get into it, I want to make sure we remind you guys we have a merchandise website now, so you can go get our Squarebody Stuff shirts. We've got hats, which this one's pretty dirty. They'll be cleaner if you order one. We've got stickers, keychains. I've also got the patches like this, I think they're 3-inch patches that are iron-on or sewn on, however you want to do it. Sticker packs. Go check it out. It's squarebodystuff.shop, and go find you some merchandise. All right, if you watched the last video, we started on the exhaust on old Squeaky here, and it only takes like 8 minutes to pull this front clip off, so it makes it easier to get to everything. And while I was in there, I started to check the valves and all that. We had an issue, found some sparkles in the oil filter, so we figured it all out. Everything's good. I've pretty much got the engine back together. I've been working on some wiring, tidying up a little bit more of the wiring and doing some stuff on the ignition wiring. It is currently 34 degrees-ish. Well, we got the fire going in the stove. It's going to warm it up, hopefully, and be a little more comfortable in here. As long as I get it to about 55 or 50, it's good working weather for me. Texas making sure that the stove puts out enough heat. He likes to soak some of it up. So in order to run exhaust with the Schoenfeld headers, they're out of frame headers, and they will go kind of in that general direction. I had to move the fuel tank, which I didn't get any video of that because it's kind of hard to get a whole lot of video while you're underneath trying to get everything done. It don't take long to get it out. But this is what I've got so far on my fuel tank situation. Now, this is not permanent. This is just temporary, so I can at least drive the thing around a little bit when the weather permits. I'm just going to run some 3/8 fuel line up the frame rail to the existing line. I do have hard line actually hanging up there on the wall. I'm going to run all new fuel line one of these days. It's a bigger line. But for right now, this is going to work. It's got a ratchet strap to the bed. Got some rubber underneath it for isolators. I got to figure out a little different way to do the fill hose. Yeah, this is what I got for right now. It'll work. I'll extend the wire for the sending unit. Hopefully it'll work okay. This fuel gauge don't work very good anyways. Not sure what the problem is. At empty, it reads half tank. I just haven't really dug into it to see what the issue is. Okay, I think so. This is just an old radiator hose. I think if I just cut this off, and it'll come over like that, somewhere like that. Put the end on there and maybe just zip screw it to the bed. I don't know. It's not gonna be fancy, but it'll work. Probably should sharpen my knife. Now eventually, I've got to make a decision what I'm going to do for a fuel cell, because this isn't going to work for very long. I do have a plastic 8-gallon, which would be perfectly fine for this truck, that I can set up, because I usually don't put more than 5 gallons of fuel in them at a time. We don't really drive them that much long distance, and if I needed to, I can always just carry a couple fuel cans with me to make sure I keep fuel in it. Or my other option is, I've thought about going ahead and doing a Blazer fuel tank swap because I've got the original fuel tank out of my rock crawler. I think it's like the big 30 or 31 gallon or something like that fuel tank. I don't know that I need that much fuel capacity in this truck, so I gotta figure that out. But for right now, this will work. Let's see if these PVC pipe cutters will cut this any better. Probably not. Oh. Maybe a little safer. I like it. I think that'll work out pretty good. Now I'm going to run the more fuel line, and I need to hook up the ground and extend the sending unit wire. Alright folks, that is all wrapped up now. Got the fuel line, kind of a roadkill type deal, but it'll work for now, just temporary. I know it won't pass any tech inspection, unless Ray Charles is the tech inspector, but he could probably still see that. Alright, now let's move up here to the front, start working on this exhaust. So what I'm starting with is these Schoenfeld out of frame headers. These are specifically for the C10 trucks. They fit perfectly, nothing really wrong with them. I did cut off about this much in an attempt to run the mufflers just temporarily, and I'll show a picture of it real quick. While I was driving back and forth to town a couple times, just to quieten it down. It really didn't help a whole lot. Really need to run exhaust all the way out the back. I'll be welding these guys onto the collectors. This will be the flange, and they fit real nice into these header buddies. Headman, this is all Headman stuff with the collectors and all that. But I want to leave myself enough room for activities. And what I mean by that is I'm going to have the exhaust that we're building right now that go all the way back to the rear tires to have the mufflers on them. Then I'm going to have a set of shorties that come out that I could put on there that exit out the fenders. We'll be building those later on down the road. Right now I just need some mufflers on this thing so I could drive around and not drive myself crazy, because it's cool for a little bit, but then it gets really old really quick. And the temperature report, we're up to about 55 degrees. And OTEX approves. That's pretty much where he's been all day. It wasn't too bad in there, but I wanted to go ahead and clean up any boogers that come through, make it nice and smooth as possible. If you want to get you one of these headlights, go into the link in the description below and you get 10% off your purchase. Well, I've got both the headers mounted up and I've started working on the passenger side here. Yes, I know those lines for the nitrous system are really close. I'm gonna have to move those, but I'll get to that later. But for right now, I think I'm going to Now with these jack stands, I can't get it exactly where I want it, but this is really close. I think I'm gonna go maybe down another half an inch or so. I don't know, that's real close. It's just at the bottom of the rocker panel. It's a little bit of an angle, but I'll get it all straightened up. And that's the nice thing about these header buddies. You can kind of wiggle them around a little bit and get you some little bit of alignment going on. But I think that's gonna work out pretty good. Now the mufflers I'm using are Flow Monsters. They're 3-inch. Straight through. Basically just a glorified glass pack, but they sound really good. Nice mellow tone, but when you get on it, they really open up and sound really good. So we're gonna mark this and get that extension cut off. Kind of wish I would have cut this a little bit shorter to give me more room for activities down here. But we'll be all right. If I have to, when I do the shorties, they may just come out underneath the fender or something. I don't know. Now, in order to get a good straight line, I'm gonna use a pipe wrap. And it's kind of on that weld, so it's a little aggravating. But it'll get us close. Well, I made a dummy move. Yeah, it is what it is. I'll fix it. That's why I just tacked this. I'm gonna have to add a little, add a little piece in, because while I was eyeballing all of it, I didn't even think about. I just had a brain fart that this pipe was gonna be moving over. So now it hits the cab mount. And that's why it's called test fitting, because that test didn't work. Now if I had another elbow or something, I could kick it out, but I don't think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do some more mocking up, see what I come up with. I'll be right back. Well, after figuring out what I needed to do, just add a little bit here, take away here, trying to get this all exactly right. Sometimes it can be a pain in the butt, but let's be real with ourselves. I'm not building a show truck. It's squeaky, so I got some of these guys. I didn't want to use them. Kind of like cheating, but you know what? It serves its purpose. So I went ahead and tacked the muffler onto this pipe that's got the 45 on it. And I put my jack stand and the jack and all that stuff. Got everything lined up where I want it with this slip joint in there. That way everything lines up the way I need to. Tack, 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 we're done. And that's what we got. All right, so now our next step is I'm gonna try to run the pipe out the side. I've got a couple of these. I think one of them will work. I'll just cut it right here. And that'll get me a 90, because I don't have any more 45s. I could probably order a 45, but I think a 90, move the pipe out so far and then 90 out will look okay. All right, you'll have to excuse the jack being in the way, but try to get down here at an angle. It all looks pretty good from down low. Kind of like where that tip comes out. Comes out in this little area here. Yeah, I like it. Well, we got the passenger side all done. I'm gonna move over and get the driver's side done. I'll fire this thing up, see what it sounds like. Well, obviously, it's the next day. Getting this other side put together took a little bit longer than I expected, and it got late. And I didn't want to start it up and irritate Mrs. Squarebody while she was trying to sleep. So I just called it a night. I think it's ready to start up. Yeah, battery's in. Just got to hook it up, pull the carb hat off. Let's see what it sounds like. I'll let that air out just a minute. Yeah, seems to be running fine. Now, if you noticed, when I walked around the front, there's a little valve train noise. But if anybody's ever run full roller rockers, they have a little bit of noise. And I know the camera kind of picks up some of the weird noises sometimes, but everything's fine. Everything seems to be working great. Exhaust sounds good. It's way quieter. We still got a little ways to go yet before we can get him on the road, because I got to put the fenders back on. I'm still planning on cutting out some of the inner structure of the fender to lighten them up, and a few other odds and ends before I put the front end back on there. I need to clean up these steering knuckles. They are horribly bad. I could probably save about 10 pounds or 20 pounds just getting all that crud off there, and it looks bad. So we'll soldier on, but that'll be in the next video or another video. I'm not sure about the next one, but it'll be in another video. So with that said, if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button down below, click the notification bell. That way you'll get notifications when I put out more videos of this pile of junk or some of my other piles of junk. And don't forget to hit the merch website, squarebodystuff.shop, and go pick out some merchandise. I think that's all I got for you now. I'm going to, I don't know what I'm going to do now. Just hang out. So until next time, y'all keep your square bodies rolling. We'll catch you later.